The Santa Fe Trail was not like the Oregon, not like the California trails. Those particular trails were all about immigration. Families loading up their goods, packing them up in a wagon and going to a whole nother part of the country. The Santa Fe Trail was all about trade, the business of trade, and that's what this particular room is about. Felipe Chavez, who was one of the wealthiest New Mexicans, becomes a big-time player in the trade along the Santa Fe Trail. Actually, after the 1840s, we start to see more Hispanic traders on the Santa Fe Trail than we do white Anglos. The amount of economic opportunities are great. Small investments become large dollar returns once they get into Santa Fe. We also have a few coins on display here that were found in the 2016 archaeological dig at the Last Chance store. So the goods that are hauled to Santa Fe, there is a long process for that to happen. Buyers go back to New York, Philadelphia, Boston, and even overseas to purchase goods. Those goods are shipped overseas, put onto riverboats, hauled up the rivers to Westport and Independence area, unloaded, put on wagons, and then they head down the trail to get those goods from point A to point B. So slavery was part of Kansas territory. The early settlers came from Missouri and brought slaves with them. Our town founder here in Council Grove, Seth Hayes, brought with him his slave, Sarah Taylor. She also went by Aunt Sally. Thomas Huffaker, who was a missionary here at the Kaw Mission, also owned a female slave named Cynthia. In 1855, there are 10 slaves on the census here in Council Grove. We also talk about Malcolm Conn. Malcolm Conn was a trader who opened a store here in 1859 on the Santa Fe Trail. He becomes a very prominent trader in Council Grove, a very wealthy trader, and Seth Hayes and him are competitors on the Santa Fe Trail. This is Malcolm Conn's 1859 ledger, and we were fortunate enough that Malcolm Conn's descendants donated this to the Kansas Historical Society. This particular ledger is full of great information from what happened here in Council Grove along the Santa Fe Trail. We have many prominent names from early settlers who established Council Grove, who had trading posts and businesses along the Santa Fe Trail, and we have this on display upstairs at the Kaw Mission. So the original missionary here was Thomas Sears Huffaker. He married the housekeeper's daughter, Eliza Baker. She had a brother named Arthur I. Baker, and Arthur owned a trading post about 6 miles east of Council Grove on the Santa Fe Trail. Unfortunately, in 1862, he was murdered by Bloody Bill Anderson and other Missouri bushwhackers. Those bushwhackers, after committing the murder, burned his house and store to the ground. In the 1970s, Emporia State University excavated the house site and the store site. We have many artifacts that were from that 1970 archaeological dig. By 1866, the Kansas Pacific Railroad had started moving southwest and had reached Junction City, Kansas. Then the freighters started shipping and receiving from that point, thereby missing Council Grove completely. And as the railroad went farther southwest, the Santa Fe Trail got shorter and shorter and shorter. So in 1880, the railroad reached just the outskirts of Santa Fe, and in the local newspaper, an obituary of the Santa Fe Trail read, "The Santa Fe Trail is dead." Now, over the 60-year period that the Santa Fe Road traveled from Missouri to Mexico, it left things. It left scarring on the earth. It left artifacts that would be found along the trail. And in this particular exhibit, we have an ox yoke that would have been used on the Santa Fe Trail, part of a wheel hub from an actual Santa Fe Trail wagon, and some tools that would have been used along the trail. We have some wrenches, we have a tool here that would use to repair spokes, and we have a great photograph here that shows the swells, the indention in the earth caused by hundreds and hundreds of wagons with their heavy, heavy loaded wagons as they headed to the southwest.